All right,
Okay.
look, yeah, we're live. I need a shot of gasoline. I'm Jack Mangan. Today I am rocking the Rush t-shirt, and this is going to be an awesome one. But I'll first introduce my cohort in these Metal Hall of Fame live streams. I'm actually, by the way, I'm going to start being distracted and clicking around and sharing this thing. But yeah, go ahead, Rich, introduce yourself and introduce our friends.
Okay, so Rich Catino here from Metal Asylum and Brave Words, and we're joined by Pat Gesualdo from the Metal Hall of Fame. And let us know who your guest is with you.
Yeah, I'm here. You're in England, bass player extraordinaire. Right now playing with the Disciples and play with Yngwie and my dear friend.
Excellent.
All right. And next to you, we have photographer
Weiss.
extraordinaire, Mark Weiss.
Yes.
That's Weissguy to you. Come on.
This guy.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jack, Rich, and Pat. Everyone, thanks for having me. And yeah, it's going to be a conversation. Can't wait. Let's get it started.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to still keep doing my sharing thing around, but like I said, we're going to curse and all that stuff. So, Rich, why don't you start fire away? Ask some questions.
Good times. Well, let's start with Pat, because he has a couple things he could tell us about the Metal Hall and what's happening for 2021 amidst all this COVID stuff. So fill us in on a couple little things you got going on.
Yeah, well, the Metal Hall of Fame, we're still here, just like everybody else. It's been extremely difficult for not only the music industry, but the world in general, unfortunately. But there is going to be a gala 2021, probably live stream, probably a mixture component of things. But we're going to have a great show this year, as always. And, I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm so excited to announce our first inductee, which is going to be Mark Weiss, my dear friend Mark. That's going to be great.
Thank you. I'm honored.
Yeah, okay. Mark.
Is this when I give my speech? Hey, no, thanks. We chatted earlier, and I appreciate it, and I'm glad to share it with the world right now. That it's really it threw me by surprise when you came down to the Monmouth Museum when I had my exhibition with Johannes, and kind of tapped me on the shoulder. You two were kind of looking at each other like, should we tell him? Should we not tell him? But you just made it official, Pat. So you sure you're not taking this back now, are you?
No, definitely not. So well deserved.
We got Jack, Rich, so your contest. This is official. All right.
Well, Pat, you said it depends on how this interview goes, right? That's what you told me. No, I'm just a joke.
Well, thanks. I really feel honored. I've been watching Pat's productions, and it's been amazing, and how he just keeps sharing and making it bigger and bigger and bigger. And this year it definitely took a little bit of a turn, because it took a turn for everybody. But the metal community just braves through this stuff, and we always do, and we always will, and we'll always be on top. And it's going to be bigger than any program out there. I give Pat 5 years, and this will be another one that people will go side by side with the biggest ones that are out there right now. I guarantee it.
Oh, there are some work, Mark, actually, and that we're going to announce shortly, probably next year, that are just going to be amazing game changers for sure. And I was just so honored to have Mark as part of our 2021 gala this year. So well deserved. If you really think about it, he's been the backdrop of our lives, for so many decades. They're all the important rock and metal pictures. I mean, it's been Mark, and it's funny when you look back, right? And you could think of some of those pictures and where we all were at that time, and and you can really reflect back on that. But he's just had such prominence of our in our lives, and we're grateful for that, Mark, for sure, being able to capture those for all of us, for the entire world.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. Yeah. It's nice to be recognized, at 30, 40 years later, because, I started in 1980. I started in 1974, but then I was only 14. And so it took me a few years to get myself together and knocked on a few doors, Circus Magazine being one of them, which really opened up the door for me, Circus Magazine. And, we got to remember the magazines, because that's really where it started. And unfortunately, that doesn't exist really, but there could be some things in the future that we can bring that old school back to. I actually just started when I had a function over at Monmouth Museum. It's called Welcome to My Exhibition. I kind of played the Alice Cooper persona, and I interviewed a lot of my people that were in my book and had history with, and we virtually interviewed them. And I had some performers by Keith Roth and Mark Tornillo from Accept, and Rob Affuso from Skid Row, and Jerry Gaskill. They were all there. So we really shared that experience there. And I want to take it. I'm actually, they just made me a board member. So next week they're going to be putting me in there as an official board member to a museum, which is pretty.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah. And one of the things I'm going to do, they're letting me kind of work with an idea on making this a whole musical experience. So we're going to have like a recording studio. We're going to do live stream events. We're going to do a lot of really cool stuff. So looking forward to that. And I don't know, I just started talking and there.
No, that's great stuff, man.
That is. That's great.
Yeah, and congratulations, as everyone said. I mean, that's awesome. But I mean, Pat really hit on something. I mean, there's so many unsung people who are so influential or not as high profile. It's like a David Lee Roth or like these major rock stars, and they're like the producers and the photographers. Like Pat said, I mean, the Stay Hungry album cover, everybody who grew up in the 80s knew that, even outside of the metal community. I mean, and that's just the tip of the iceberg for your work. So yeah, it's great that Pat and the Metal Hall are honoring you. Because this is not a question. This is just me kind of just backing up what Pat said. I think it's great. And, your career, we definitely got to touch on some of the highlights. But yeah, it's so important.
Sure. Well, I feel like putting this book together, The Decade That Rocked, it was kind of like I was so busy in the 80s. Like I was nonstop. I was on tour with Rat and Dokken, Van Halen, like all these bands, like, coming out of nowhere, Motley Crue, Ozzy. I just go on one tour bus on another one and fly to Japan, go to England. It was like a whirlwind, and I never had a chance to put together a portfolio. So this is my portfolio: 6 pounds, 1 ounce, 400 pages. It's I actually designed it to 600, and we had to cut it down. But it's my portfolio now, so I get a chance to like put my photography in perspective. And by looking at it, you really see the history that I was involved in. Because I have a lot of, besides just doing photo shoots and album covers, I was part of history. I was at the US Festival. I was at Live Aid with Black Sabbath when they reunited. I was at Hearing Aid with that mega lineup, which is mind blowing, with Rob Halford and Dio and Dokken and Jeff Tate, all those guys. And then to top it off with the Moscow Peace Festival and the PMRC hearings too. So I kind of like weave the history through and I have my photographs to tell the tale. So I didn't even know I did, but when I see it in the book, I did.
Yeah, you sure did.
Excellent.
Yeah, great. Rich, why don't you fire away? I know we both have a bunch of questions. Why don't you ask something of one of our guests?
Before we go to Mark, so Pat, aside from inducting him, is there anything else you can tell everybody about maybe a couple possibilities of the format or something for the Metal Hall for next year?
Yeah, well, I think a component of it is definitely going to be live streamed, of course. I think we're definitely going to do it early next year. That I know for sure. It's just a matter of how, and it all really depends on what the restrictions are and what we're going to be allowed to do and not to do. But we're going to try our best, to do as much as possible. It's definitely going to be a great show for next year. And, we're really looking forward to that. And the important thing about this is that, it's the spirit, right? We're all busy doing things. And just like the Metal Hall of Fame has always been, it's about, the spirit of hard rock and heavy metal. And even in these trying times, we're still here yet again, thankfully. And we also owe a big thanks to all the fans that have come out and been there for us right from the very beginning. And speaking about the very beginning, my friend Bjorn Englund over here with Dio Disciples, they played the very first show for us. And I'd like to talk to Bjorn a little bit about that. And here he is right here.
All right.
And I was surprised, too, to have him on tonight. And So, Bjorn, what do you think about the first year? You know,
It was great. The first year, I mean, it's hard to put something like that together and find a place and, expectations and this and that. But there was a lot of nice inductees, a lot of cool awards. And I think it was really amazing for
that
first
started the
year.
whole thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
First year, that first year was amazing. We had over 1,000 people in the audience, and that's when we inducted Randy Rhoads and dear friends, of course, Kathy and Kelly Rhodes and Wendy Dio to induct Ronnie and Don Airy and Rudy Sarzo, and that really just kicked us off, and I'm so grateful for all of them as well. And yeah, it's been a quick 5 years, right, Bjorn? It really has. I mean,
Yeah.
when you look back
Flew
at
by,
it,
really.
yeah, this is our 5th anniversary, so we're going to be doing some special things for that as well.
So I got to say, I was there the first year, and yeah. So Bjorn, you guys killed it. Dio Disciples were unbelievable.
They did.
It was so incredible, and yeah, I remember Frankie Vanali was another highlight of the first year of the Hall of Fame. That was just such a great. I still have the chills 5 years later. That was great. But yeah, so I mean, but Pat, I guess the question to follow up on Rich's question. So people can expect more inductees. We're not beyond. There's going to be like a slate of inductees for 20. Whatever happens, whatever we're going to be able to do in 2021. There's going to be a slate of inductees, right? It's not just going to be. Yeah. Okay.
There's going to be some very special things that have not happened in the industry in a long time with artists. So just a little hint there, and it's pretty mind blowing. So I can't wait to announce that shortly, and that's just going to be a really good show for sure.
Excellent. Then people should stay tuned then, I guess, through the Metal Hall of Fame Facebook page, the website, and then, this is the Metal Hall of Fame live stream, so we can release information as it's ready too. So
and we will, yeah, for sure.
Do you think, depending on the format, will you be able to incorporate some of Mark's artwork as well at the event, whether it's virtual or in person, or kind of both?
Definitely virtual for sure. Absolutely.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I'd really like to have some kind of an audience, but so many award shows this year, it's just in whatever genre for anything. It's and any events are just completely shut down.
Right.
And needless to say, but that makes it difficult from a musician standpoint, from a producing standpoint, from an event standpoint, and even from the fan standpoint, So I hear now that really Live Nation is going to make sure that before you can even enter a show, you're going to have some kind of proof that you had an inoculation. And I'm not really happy about that either way, but we'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, it's unique times, man. It's unique challenges, and it's been such it's hit us all. I mean, it's absolutely hit us all. I mean, who thought when we were going to see shows in January and February that was going to be our last ones of the year? It's incredible.
I know. And Mark, the nice thing about that is the induction is that we also have a partnership with a venue out in Cape Cod called the Music Room, where we're going to be doing some of our local events. And we're going to do a big book signing for Mark out there in the early spring. And I'm really excited about that. And Mark's going to have a lot of his artwork on display and for sale. And that's going to be a lot of fun as well.
I mean, I'm like, my plan was the book was released in June, and the plan was I was making like arrangements to like shadow some of the big tours. Motley was on tour, White Snake, Sammy Hagar, all these people that were in my book and they're my friends. I was gonna shadow the venues and do some radio spots, some classic rock radio stations, doing some promotion, cross promotion, set up a gallery, sign some books, raise some money for some local charities. And that was my plan. I was going to get a tour bus and wrap it with my photos and get some corporate sponsorship and just have a blast, and it didn't happen. So then I had to shift into like everyone else at home working, and it kind of worked for me. I'm on my 3rd pressing now. I got a lot of press. A lot of people are more apt to, I guess, read and, and look at photos and be attached to their computer. So it kind of worked for me. I mean, unfortunate that everything happened the way it did and how everything's being, this crazy illness. But you got to make the best of it. Like a lot of us have, especially the metal community, with being creative and like mixing, different artists that would probably never been, working together. And now they created, their new art, new recordings, and it's going to spark. Once this is over, it's going to be it's going to be mind blowing. Really, it's like a race to concert halls, to record stores, to you name it. So there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and we just got to like sit tight now. We're in the final stretch.
Yeah, well said. I got that loads up 10 questions for me, but Rich, go ahead. You ask it, whatever you got.
Okay, so Mark, is there a photo shoot that you were asked to be part of and you blew it off and then you regretted it later?
No, but there was one shoot that I'll never be late to a shoot again, because I did a photo shoot with the Blizzard of Oz with Ozzy, Rudy, Tommy, and Randy at the Capitol Theater. The photo in my book of Randy was that last shot I took of him at the Capitol Theater. And then I was supposed to, when they came back and did, it was the Palladium, I think. I had a session arranged to do it at the hotel, and I got stuck in the Holland Tunnel, and I was like an hour and a half late. And I got there. Meanwhile, it was like an early shoot in the morning, and I got there a little earlier. I figured, all right, they're just getting up. But no, Sharon kept everyone up for the shoot because everyone was up, and I got late and they just like all passed out. And it's like, I could have had this like another shoot with Randy and the band and all that. So that's the only shoot that I regret. From that shoot, I'll never be late again. I'm always like an hour or two early if, whenever there's something that important, but things happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a hell of a story.
Pat, tell us who your friend is.
Yeah, look who's here. One and only, the man.
I just wanted to stick my head in and say hi to Mark, because even though he lives 5 minutes from me, we only connect over via the internet.
or the bike trail.
Or the bike trail, correct, because we can still do stuff outside, which is nice. But yeah, hey, if you need a host for the Heavy Metal Hall of Fame and you can't afford Eddie Trunk or Jim Florentine, I'm very affordable.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, beer,
Don,
and
Don, while you're here,
a six-pack
while
of
you're
Miller
here, tell us what you got going on, Don, while you're here.
I've been doing some stand-up, which has been cool. And I'm doing my show. I do That Jameson show on Compound Media, where I'm interviewing all our wonderful friends in the rock world. And Mark has been on the show before for his fantastic book. And I do want to say, in all seriousness, that the disrespect that our music gets from all the mainstream award shows. It's just so cool that everybody who's participated and put time in to do the Heavy Metal Hall of Fame really is a great thing. So kudos to all you guys. And, anyway, just jumping in to say hi, and I got to go do a show now here in Jersey. So we'll talk again another time.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Cool.
All right, go ahead, Jack. What do you got?
Well, actually, this seems like I say a million questions. This seems like a good time to ask about the podcast. You did a little bit of podcast from August through November, Mark. I mean, I really enjoyed them. I hope I think the last one came out was in November. I hope you keep them going. I think it was really entertaining and great guests.
Thanks. Yeah, there's some surprises coming up. I've been so busy, and Greg Alpern, my partner, we host together, who's really steers the ship. I mean, we wouldn't have it without Greg. He's, Mark, we got to keep it going. We got to do this. We got to do that. And it's like the weeks fly by, and then I went to go visit my son in Florida, and it's like, I mean, it's crazy, how time flies, and it is important to keep them going. And we just did one the other day that's going to be pretty interesting. And we're going to go forward on it. But yeah, I love doing it. It tells my history, and it's about the guest, but it's about my involvement with that artist. And then You know, because once I start shooting a band, I'm with them to the end, you know, so we have the same history. So there's good stories there, you know, and I forget a lot of them, so it's nice hearing them back, them, you know, and their perspective, with clarity. But yeah, that's called the Decade That Rock podcast, and it's on all the platforms. And everyone go over there. It's pretty cool. And what we're doing is we're doing, we do the Zoom as well, and I edit my photos in there and some video clips. So they end up being a little documentary that we release later on. We're gonna release little clips and things. So you know, it's had a little bit more than the average podcast, but you know, it got my photography in there too. But very time consuming, but very rewarding.
Cool.
Nice.
And hey, by the way, everyone out there watching, if you have questions, I mean, we're getting lots of comments, but a lot of them are just, you know, just the horns or just woo. So if you have questions, then go ahead and ask. And actually, Pat, I'll say to you, if you have any interview questions you want to ask of Mark Weissguy, Weiss, go ahead and here's your chance. Go ahead and be join the interview team. You can be guest and host at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, Mark, what inspired you to become a photographer?
Girls. You know,
Nice.
That'll do it.
I was a shy kid in high school, and you know, I'd be shy to go up and talk to them. But once I started going to concerts and bringing the pictures to my high school, the girls started flocking, you know, oh, wow, you shot Peter Frampton and Steven Tyler and Queen. And it's like, yeah. And he goes, oh, can we buy them? I'm like, yeah, you can have them if you hang out with me later on in my house. So, you know, a lot of things happened from there. I made a lot of friends, and it kind of got me out of my shell. Gave me something to talk about, you know, interest, music, which is what I like talking about. I like being around it. I like everything about music. It's really, you know, I'd probably be mowing lawns if it wasn't for my, you know, me getting that camera. I got, just to back it, I got my first camera by mowing someone's lawn when I was 12, just by knocking on a guy's door, and he said he mowed his lawn. And, you know, I said, well, it doesn't look like it because his lawn was like really loud, really long. And he came back with me with a camera. He said, you want to mow my lawn? Like, smart ass, you know, you can have this camera. You mow it for a season. So that's how I got my first camera. And so I'd probably be mowing lawns, having the landscapes, for being very depressed right now.
And was there
That's what's cool about your
other type of art that you wanted to, you know, show or exhibit, or, you know, did you always think at some point you would have your artwork in a gallery? Did you ever think of doing any other kind of photography, nature, or anything like that? Or was it always just strictly music?
Well, it wasn't strictly music, but it always had a move, you know, and it had to be a person. So I like shooting people. I fell into the music and I dug deep into it because that's what I love. But really in the 80s, I've done a lot of celebrity photography with, you know, Kim Basinger, Alec Baldwin, Johnny Depp. I used to work for Us Magazine, you know, Rodney Dangerfield, Cheech and Chong. I mean, I shot all these characters, you know, in intimate settings at their homes, you know, and that will be a book to come out one day, but no one really knows me of doing all that. But right. It's people, you know, I like people. I've done fashion. I've done, anytime someone asked me to do something, I wouldn't say, you know, I'm not doing that. I mean, I've done stuff with Adam and the Ants and The Cure and the Go-Go's. I've done all that. I just hide that stuff because, you know, it wouldn't be cool.
I think it's cool.
Yeah.
All right, Rich, I think you had a question, right, Rich?
Well, I was going to say, when you were telling the story before about how you got into this, that's what's cool about your book too, because you have all those little stories weaved in between all your photos too.
Yeah, it actually starts out with my bar mitzvah speech. I don't know if you saw that, but I have a little index card. I save everything, and I have this little index card, and it says, and it was typed out. You know, I love things that are old school, you know, phones, anything that we don't have anymore. And right. Index cards with a typewritten message when I was 12 years old, you know, saying what it's like to be a man, and you know, and so I put that in there, you know, and it's like got the little mistakes with the white out. So you know, I have little things like that. I wanted that in there. I don't know why I saved it, but thank goodness I did.
Great. It's a nice little detail. It's great.
Yeah.
Very artistic. Yeah.
But the first chapter is called The Early Years, and I felt it was important to tell everyone how I became who I became and how I developed to be the photographer that I was. And the 70s really shaped me by sneaking in and then getting my big break by going into circus. I mean, I didn't know anybody. I just got arrested at a Kiss concert, selling my pictures for $1 a piece, bootlegging it, going home and reading the circus magazine that I used to read all the time, and going, now what I got to do. And then when I said that to myself, I looked down at the masthead and there was an address, 257 West 57th Street. And I went there the next day. I went on the same train that I went to when I went to the Kiss show, took a subway and sat there, and the secretary took a liking to me and said, you know what, hang out. They're off deadline. You came in a good day, and we'll have the art director, his name was Al Rudolph, talk to you. And so I waited like 3 hours. I just waited patiently. And then he took me in, and then he brought Jerry Rothberg in, who was the owner from the beginning, founder, great guy. And he kind of gave me a little pep talk. And he just said, use this film. We like this film because of the clarity. And I said, okay, I'll come back when I think I got it. And then go forward 5-6 months when Aerosmith played Giant Stadium with Ted Nugent and Journey, I think in Foreigner. I think it's those bands, but definitely Ted Nugent. I snuck my camera in and got really close and took the pictures and dropped them off the next day. And I said, a month later, because everything's not instant, kids out there, it's like you drop a picture up in a magazine and you're not going to see that for a month and a half, if it's a monthly, and they were a month at the time. So, and the October issue, I mean, I shot this photo in June, and the October issue, in 1978, I opened it up and I was at the newsstand, and it was a centerfold, the biggest picture in the book of Steven Tyler. And then there was a Ted Nugent photos in there. And then from then on, it just, they started using my pictures all the time. And then they started assigning me. Van Halen was one of my first assignments in 79, the next summer, Convention Hall in Asbury, their second album they were supporting. They were still doing theaters. And then it just snowballed from there. I mean, you got the circus name. Like, I remember, I was just getting photo passes, but not really backstage passes, like after show passes. So I remember at that Convention Hall show, I go in there and I go there early. I said, I'm with circus, and I come in there, get my photo pass, and they're doing sound check, and then they're done. And so I saw the stairway, no one was there. The security wasn't there yet. I had a pass that looked like a backstage pass, but it was an after show. But I just walked up there, and Eddie was hanging out in the hall, and Michael was goofing around, and I just introduced myself, and Eddie gave me a big smile. I said, is it cool to take some photos? I'm from circus. He goes, yeah, go ahead, man. And that's the one full page photo in there where he's leaning against the trap case in the book. And it's one of my favorites. Yeah.
Yeah. Great shot.
That's the story behind that. So that was the first time I ever shot Eddie was that photo in the book. And then I shot the show. They let me shoot the whole show. We hung out a little bit afterwards. We got along. Listen, we like the same music. There were this and Aerosmith and all the bands that I grew up with. They were kind of the same age, maybe a little older. So we had that. With most of the artists, like we're all cut from the same cloth. That's why we all get along. And then they used a centerfold of it's a cool shot. It's a picture of Michael, Eddie, and David like jamming on Eddie's guitar, and it was a centerfold. And they saw it and they liked it. And then the next tour came along, and they gave me more access. And then I got an assignment from Us magazine. I got to know more, and then actually, and it just kind of spiraled, and actually,
great story.
And in 81, then I started shooting them more in 81, and I got more access, and it just kind of went back and forth, and done a lot of stuff. And then when Sammy came in the band, they had me do that, and I did their tour book, the Monsters of Rock tour. So I kind of segued into the next phase of Van Halen.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. All right. Well, you talked about this a little bit. You talked about you like the old stuff. I'm not really a pro or even I'm a bad amateur photographer, but can you tell some of the people out there know what they're talking about, what kind of gear you use, what kind of gear you favor? And I'll also tag on digital versus, old school versus actual film. What's your take on that?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm not really a tech guy, and honestly, I'd have to go in my camera bag right now and tell you what kind of camera I have, because
Okay.
I don't even know. It's been so long since I really held it, but I've been using it, but I forget. But it's I got like a Mark III, or I don't even know what they are now. Mark II, Mark III, Mark IV, whatever the newest one is, I get. And then I have so I have one full screen and one little tighter end. So cameras are cameras. They're just tools. You can do the same thing with a phone these days. Sometimes better.
It's up to the person that uses them, right? That's the main thing.
Yeah. I'm not a tech guy. I'm sure there's cameras out there, Leicas and all this, and I know a lot of photographers swear by them, but I'm just a simple guy. I like to just get something and just look and shoot. And if it's too light, I'll turn it one way. If it's too dark, I'll go the other way. If it needs more light, I'll put this light a little closer. It's like, I'm kind of like, I'm just a field kind of guy, and I don't really pay attention too much about equipment, but, to be honest with you. But I use Canons, though. I do use Canons.
Okay. That's awesome. That's an awesome answer. Yeah.
Is there a difference between, for myself, I take photos as well at concerts. Is there a difference between your pixelations and your lens? What's the preferred? Does it matter, or is it the lens versus the pixelation?
See, I don't even know what a pixelation is.
It's got the numbers. They tell you it's whatever pixelation on for the cameras when you get a camera.
I don't pay attention. I don't know.
As long as it's in focus, that's all you care about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
It's a big file. That's all you know. I do like the full frame one, the Mark II. I think it's called the Mark III, whatever it is, because it gives you two cards, and every once in a blue moon, and it happened to me a couple times. The card, dumps on you or whatever, and you get holy crap. I just did this shoot, and I usually use 2 or 3 cameras, so I'm always covered. But that one camera, it has 2 cards in it. It has 2 different cards. So if one craps out, you got the backup. So that's why I always like that. You don't have to download both, but you got 2.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
The important
Guys,
stuff.
that's great. Thank you so much for your time, man. Everybody, I really appreciate it, Don and Bjorn. Guys, thank you so much. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, we still got some time. I don't know if you got to run. It's cool, but yeah, we're here for another 20 minutes or so. But yeah, that's all. It's all good.
Yeah, we're gonna split on our end, but thank you guys so much.
All right, I'll see you later, guys.
Yeah,
Mark, congratulations again, brother.
Thanks, Pat. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank Pat.
Thanks,
Thank Bjorn. All right.
All right, Mark, you can just stick around for a little bit for a few more questions.
Sure.
All right,
Okay.
cool.
Jack, you got one, or you want me to go?
We're not going to talk crap about Pat now that he's gone, right? No, I'm just told that's a joke too. Yeah, no, I've got this is like I said. I mean, this is a quick follow up, just like Rich said. I've shot shows and I'm in the front trench, and then the other photographers are like, "Oh, tell me about your camera. What is that?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's a Nikon." So it's great to hear you say that, Mark. That you say that that you don't obsess over those kind of little details. That's great. Actually, here, I'll kick. Looks like Pat's he's still kind of in limbo. I'm going to kick him out. So go ahead, Rich. You ask what you're going to ask.
So, what band did you wish you had photographed in the '80s, but you just didn't get the chance to?
Yeah, someone else asked me that before, and I don't think there is a band, to be honest with you.
You got to photograph everybody?
I guess. I think so, because I did think about that, and I think I covered it all, I would have liked to done a session with Angel back in the day, that would have been cool. Okay. But I don't know, did they make it into the 80s, or did they stop in the 70s?
I think it was the very early 80s they stopped, maybe late 70s, maybe the very late 70s.
And Man of War would have been cool for me to shoot. I never shot Man of War, believe it or not. you know, because I like bands with an image.
Yeah.
So I'll ask that. Are there any photo shoots that you remember where you had really memorable props or really weird or memorable props or costumes or locations? Is there any that really stick out?
Any locations?
Yeah, locations, weird props. I mean, obviously the bone on Stay Hungry, but any weird props, locations, or costumes, anything that just kind of sticks out in your memory?
Well, the gangster shoot with Motley, that was cool. We did this shoot. We had this big Rolls Royce brought in. We got Tommy guns. I rented a backdrop of like an old fish market. So that was quite quite something. And of course, the Come Out and Play album, I built that street with a manhole, metal manhole.
Okay.
Father was in construction, so he helped me do that. That's a real manhole. It's actually at the Hard Rock in Vegas in storage right now. It was on display there for a bit. But that whole production is amazing. Yeah, I love album covers are for a photographer that's it. It's like the test of time, you know, there'll always be album covers around. You know, magazines kind of stay up for 30 days, if that, and they're off the shelf, you know. So if you get a cover on that, that was great. And that was great when I was doing all the Circus magazine covers. But then I wanted to do album covers. I always did. And then I got the call from Twisted Sisters manager to do Stay Hungry, which is my first album cover. And then it just took off after that, and it was very rewarding, and it's get very creative, a lot of work, a lot of blood and sweat in there. But it's, you know, like right now when I'm walking down the street and I have my, or I'm driving and Sirius is on, the images are popping up and they're tiny, but they're nice and crisp and little and stuff, you know, and you see my album covers. And I remember one time it was like, I think it was a dock, and all of a sudden, you know, Under Lock and Key, you know, a song came on from there. And then I was listening to it, you know, jamming out to it. And then I look on the screen and say, oh, there's my photo. And then, you know, it Slippery When Wet's on. I think I was listening to Hair Nation. Then, you know, there's my Slippery When Wet cover. And then, you know, The Last Command came on, you know, something from that, you know. So all these, I switched the station to Ozzy's Boneyard, and The Last Command came on. So it was there. And then go back to Hair Nation, Brittany Fox, and then Anthrax, back to Ozzy. You know, it was like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, holy cow. So it was pretty cool. But I do have some news. I was just inducted last month into another Hall of Fame. It was the Album Cover Hall of Fame, and they inducted me. And Mark Seliger does all the Rolling Stone, not all of them, but a lot of the Rolling Stone magazine covers. And other album covers, of course, I'm not familiar with, but also Eric Miola, who didn't do a lot of album covers, but the one he did was Born to Run with Bruce and Clarence. So those three guys were there. We all got inducted at the same time, and that just happened a couple weeks ago. So I'm glad to share the news on that. I didn't even post that yet.
Great.
I just
Congratulations.
Posted. Thank you. So I'm starting to put a page on my website, The Decade That Rocked, and it's called Album Covers. So I'm putting all my album covers in there together, and not just my rock and metal, but I've done Christina Aguilera album covers, Gwen Stefani, Lil Kim, you know, a little bit of everybody. So that's all going to be mixed in together. And I actually just did a photo shoot with Yngwie in Miami for his album cover in Miami. I just got back, and he and I did the Odyssey album in '88, and when I was at his house, that's when I got the email from Mike over at the Album Cover Hall of Fame, emailing me saying congratulating me, and me and Yngwie did a little video talking about album covers and importance of rock photography and whatnot. So that I just posted on my website. That's up there. I'm going to be posting it. It's kind of like in the menu. I didn't really push it out yet because I didn't want to promote it yet, but it's being promoted now, and it's there. It's on thedecadethatrocked.com under album covers, and it's a cool video. And I'm in it too. We're talking about the album cover and about rock photography. It's only a few minutes long, but it's cool. You know, it's like he just called me up out of the blue to do his new album cover, And that's what I always wait for that call, and it just shows like they forget about you.
Right. And when it's Yngwie, you're doing a good job because he doesn't tolerate anything less than the best. So that's pretty cool.
And when I was in Miami, I also I have my photographs in the Wentworth Gallery over at the Hard Rock in Hollywood. So they're just starting to put my photos on canvas and I sign them. So that happened when I was in Yngwie with Yngwie down there. So that happened. Lots going on. Lots going on.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Is there an album cover that you shot that maybe people don't know that flew under the radar, or maybe it's on your book, like a rock or a metal cover?
There was this band called, have you ever heard of a band called Obsession?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was yeah, so it was a crazy shot. It was a scientist. It was actually my father-in-law. We dressed him up like a mad scientist, and we had it like just this mad thing, but it was kind of cool,
Oh, that was I want to say, is that Scared for Life maybe, or that's the other album?
I don't think that was it, but I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, it's one of them. I remember that cover.
Yeah, I did the Lizzie Borden album covers, like Terrorizing. Was that it? He was in the TV and he was all silver.
Oh my God, it's slipping my mind. I know what it is. Visualize, right?
Yeah, that's it. So I did a couple of them for Lizzie. But that's I'm sure there's some, but I don't know. That's fun. Yeah. But also a little more news. Next week I think on the 15th or 16th, I'm allowed to let everyone know, but show it. But Life Magazine's doing a special on Van Halen, and they used my photograph from a 1981 backstage photo of the band posing. We did a photo shoot, so. And you can even see me in Alex's glasses, which is cool. So I'm on the
Wow,
that's awesome. Fantastic. Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's kind of the dream, right? When you're doing this.
Oh yeah, when they told me about it, I was like, "Holy cow!" I couldn't believe it. It's like so cool. I actually have a copy right here, but I can't show it.
Oh, we can't.
Yeah. But yeah. So, anyway, and then I'm just rattling some stuff off just because I know we don't have a lot of time. But really important project that I have is with Missy, who was Kevin Dubrows under Dubrow. She was the fan club president with Dubrow and had a really nice relationship with him. And she came to me to use a photo for the cover of the book. And because she gave him a necklace with a microphone, and a photo shoot I did with Kevin for the cover of Faces magazine, it was really prominent, and she wanted to use it, and I said sure, and I told her how much it was, and she's like, I don't have any money really. I said, well, send me what you got. I want to make sure it was the real, because I understand that. I want Kevin's legacy to be. If it was done right, I mean, I would give it to her, and I literally did, and I did more than that. So she sent me the manuscript. It was really it was going to be a soft cover book. It was in her words, which were great, and it told her story and how she was 16 when she first met him, when Randy was in the band. Mm-hmm. So she had photos with her and Randy, and photos, and then when Randy went to Ozzy, she was with Kevin then, just with Dubrow. And then when Quiet Riot took off, she was the official fan club president, the Quiet Riot Squad, I think it was called. And she took it over. She with she did all the, with the press and the fans, and she was the go-between and made the fan club really special. So it's her memoirs, and I don't want to say donating, but when it makes profit, then we're going to be partners, and we're probably going to self-publish it for now and see how that goes. So right now there's it's Indiegogo. It's Indiegogo, trying to raise some money. We're at halfway mark right now. I think we need another like $5,000 or $6,000, and you get other things. There's guitar picks and the original poster from the Quiet Riot Squad, and fun things and, you know, autograph copies from it. And alongside my photographs, because I only started shooting Quiet Riot from the US Festival till the 80s, you know, and Ron Sobel, a good friend of mine, was the photographer and very good friends with the band and Kevin and Randy. So he shot pictures from 75 on. So and he has his own book on Randy. And that's we're going to be using his photographs too. So he was very generous with giving us a good price on his photographs. So it's going to be a hardcover. It's not going to be a small paperback anymore. It's not going to be as big as my coffee table book, but it's going to be a nice size hardcover, nice gloss paper. It's going to be done well, and it's going to be really good. And Rudy Sarzo is doing the forward, and on the Indiegogo site, it's called "Keep On Rollin'." That was one of their songs. On Rudy Talks, we used a bit from my Welcome to My Exhibition of when we talked about it on my virtual show, and we talked about Missy and doing a book on Kevin and how his legacy is so important and how, you know, what a nice guy he was, you know, because he doesn't get a lot of credit. And when he was alive, unfortunately, a lot of people he wasn't everyone's best friend, sort of say, you know, but you know, looking back, everyone really sees the impact he had in his band Quiet Riot by having the first heavy metal band to go to #1. So, you know, we really owe a lot to Kevin and the band, you know, Rudy and Randy, Frankie and Carlos, and keeping their legacy alive. So this book will do it, and it will show the humans, you know, it'll show a really nice side of Kevin. And I'm really proud to be part of it. I'm glad Missy asked me to be involved. So, yeah.
And how can some people can go and support it at Indiegogo? It's Keep On Rolling is the name of the book, and people can go to Indiegogo.
Yeah, it's on my Facebook. I have a post on it. You got to scroll down a little up. After this, I'll put it back up. And so that's really, you know, we have 20 days left. And it's going to be, you know, you can give $10. You can, you know, buy the book in advance pretty much and get some extra stuff. Like you get a photo, one of my photos in there too, which, you know, I usually sell for a couple $100. So, you know, there's some good stuff in there.
Very cool. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so everybody go out and make sure you check out the Indiegogo page for this project.
Yeah. Okay, Jack, you got one, or can I fire one off?
Yeah, go ahead. I do, but go ahead. Yeah, we got a couple
All
more.
right,
By the way, Mark does say don't worry about time. You know, we'll go until we're done. So don't worry. Like, we're not going to stop at a certain time. We'll go when we're done. So. But go ahead, Rich.
Any comments or anything or questions before I go on from anybody?
No, we got a lot from Deshaun Lozol is chiming in a lot and just saying he's a big fan. You know, he's just said a lot of positive stuff. But yeah, if you're out there, like I said, if you've got questions for Mark Weiss, legendary photographer, as we've just announced, is going to be inducted in the Metal Hall of Fame and has been in a couple other notable Hall of Fame. So if you have questions, fire away. We do have a couple more minutes. I mean, we're not going to go all night. We got a couple more minutes. But go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, we're good. So obviously this book is successful. So do you have plans to do a volume 2? And how would you approach that book as opposed to this one, if you could do another one?
Yeah, well, I've learned a lot business-wise and also putting it together, because this book took 5 years to make. So I don't want it to take 5 years, you know, I don't, you know, because I want to put it like 10 books out, you know, still. I have a lot of books under my belt. So I think I want my next book to be, I like it to be a Motley or Ozzy. And I reached out to both camps, because I always like to have, you know, support and contributions, because it makes it a special book, you know, to have all that. Like on my book, like all the artists in there pretty much talked to me, or talked to Richard Beanstalk, who was the writer and interviewed us along with Daniel Surik. So all these interviews were great, and I want the next book to be like, if it's Motley, I want to, you know, interview them and talk to them about photos and caption them, or if Ozzy, the same thing. So, you know, that's really what I like to do. I probably need to reach out to them again, and, you know, because I every once in a while I'll send them an email, say, you know, so what do you think? And, you know, I never got a no yet. It's just, we're always like, you know, we'll see. But anyway, so but then another next book could be The Decade That Rocked, and I would call it like BW, black and white. So I have a file. I have files of all my black and white photos from the tour bus, things that because film cost money back then, it cost a lot of money. So black and white wasn't as much, and you didn't have to develop it. Because I knew the magazines didn't really want black and white because they wanted color shots, and the black and white photos only paid like $25. So a lot of times I would just take the photos and throw it in a bag and then develop it later and not do contact sheets. So most of them are in my files without contact sheets. So I don't even know what I have. They were never published. So, these are all the things that I took at their homes, hanging out, partying. So pictures that I didn't intend to use. That's why I shot it in black and white, so I didn't have to spend the money. So those photos are going to come out, and it's be more not as narrative. Like this book is very narrative.
Yeah.
My life, it's my story. It's the important shoots that kind of where I got to be where I am today. So this will be more of a party photos, hanging out, not too many stories, or maybe I'll interview them if they remembered anything. So maybe I'll have the artist like caption them or tell stories about those photos or the time they were or that tour.
Right.
And just keep it like fun and light and all black and white, and not and I'll be able to have more photos of the bands that didn't make it in there a lot, because a lot of bands like Extreme, like I did one shoot with Extreme in the 80s, so there's only a small photo. It was a photo shoot. It was nothing, I don't want nothing special, because it was just I used to do a lot of shoots, so Winger, all these bands that but there was a lot more photos of them on the road and on tour that didn't fit this book. This was more about more pose photos, or there's live shots in here too, but it's more about the photos that were created more on studio, and some other stuff too. But this one will have more images that didn't make this book.
Sounds great.
Cool. By the way, we've got Melissa Whitney says Indiegogo.com, search Quiet Riot to pre-order.
Oh,
Is that's Missy? Okay.
That's the author. Yeah, that's the author.
There you go. Well, thank you for watching, Missy. Thanks for giving us that link. So there you go, everyone. So this is, I actually want to switch gears a little bit, although this is still somewhat related. Not many people have their weddings talked about and that are so influential decades later. But it seems like your wedding was a big deal. Like all these, it was a star-studded event. Can you tell us a little bit about the story about who was there, who performed, and some of the lifelong, some of these major relationships that came out of that?
Oh yeah. Well, Zach Wild, he was Jeffrey Weiland back then at the wedding. Just turned into Zach Wild. He was at the wedding, and probably a month or two earlier, my friend Dave Feld found a guitar player at a club, Close Encounters, like down the street. We're supposed to meet there. I told him like, let's go to have a drink over there. And he's like, nah, I'm not going to go. And I said, well, I'm going to go. And so he ended up going, and I ended up passing out. And he came back to me the next day and said, I think I found him. I'm like, found what? And he goes, the guitar player for Ozzy. And I said, really? And he was like so adamant, like this guy was it. And, what are the chances of a guy from, in Sayreville, New Jersey, finding one? And to back it up once, the night before, me and Dave, my friend Dave Feld, who's my best man at the wedding and also my best friend, we were with Sharon and Ozzy the night before in Long Island to check out this other guitar player. And I remember telling Sharon that I'll keep my eyes open. So the next day, like this happened. So it was kind of like fate. It's a perfect storm. It just happened, And so anyway, that's my Zach story. And he was at the wedding, obviously, him and his girlfriend at the time, Barbara Ann. And then the other person was there was Sebastian and the Madam X guys, Bam Bam, Maxine, and Chris from Madam X. I shot them like 3 or 4 months earlier in Phoenix, I believe it was Phoenix. and did the new photo shoots. I shot Madam X in '85 when Jet Records from Sharon's dad was managing, Sharon Osbourne, Don Arden, and that's when I first met Madam X. And then when they got a new singer, they flew me in. They had a new manager, and they flew me in, and we hung out for a week, had a great time, and we became friends. And then I told at the last minute, I told my secretary to invite that band that I just shot. That's what I said. And she did, and I didn't think they were going to come, but they drove from Detroit in some old car that barely made it, and they hung out at the Molly Pitcher and destroyed the place, and then we had, the next day it was the wedding, and then at the end when everyone was kind of clearing out, the wedding band kind of just put their they said goodnight and they put their instruments down, and next thing you know it, Zach and Sebastian are grabbing the instruments and starting to play. And Dave Feld, my friend that played drums, they did rock and roll, which that video just was shown just this year or a few months ago in Rolling Stone, kind of debuted it. A little bit of a backstory. And then just recently in Guitar World, I released another video with Kevin Dubrow. I remember, Kevin was there. Me and Kevin were really good friends. He gave me his keys to his house, and we were just really good buddies. And he came to the wedding, and he told, I remember Sebastian, I remember I was with them, and, they were talking about going on and jamming, and Sebastian was trying to get Kevin to go up. And Sebastian and Kevin's like, I don't want to go up. Really, don't drag me up, please. And he was like this, like, please, like, take me, but don't, because that's, So the story goes, he goes up there, they start, they're playing a little riffs with Bang Your Head, and then Sebastian, coaxed Kevin to come up. And it didn't take long, and Kevin came into this scene like like a little kid, like, all right, I'll do it, and then got to it, and then then they all jammed out, and it's pretty cool. So definitely, and then we debuted that on my it was actually the 30 this Welcome to My Exhibition where I interviewed everyone, and I was like Alice. That was actually on pre-Halloween, so it was October 30th. And Kevin Dubrow's birthday was on the 29th, and he would have been 65. So we kind of dedicated that night to him, and we talked about artists, and then we debuted it after Guitar World. We debuted it on the show, which is now all over the internet right now. So I waited for good time, and hopefully that will help Missy's book too. To bring Kevin's Kevin's memory back.
Great story.
Right. Yeah. Great stuff, man. I feel like we're just the tip of the iceberg. So I don't know, Rich, you have any more questions before we wrap?
No, I think I'm good. You?
Yeah. No, I mean, of course I do, but no, I'll say, how about Mark? Why don't you just take us out? Tell people who are still not convinced, say like what's great about the book that they should go out and check it out.
Okay, I'm going to show you what's great about this book. Hold on.
Nice.
Right,
well, I can tell you right away that it's definitely the slippery when wet cover is definitely one of the winners.
Well, how about this gatefold? We got a gatefold here. We got
nice. That's great too.
There's 3 gatefolds in here. I mean, Insight really went out and they really made this a beautiful book. We got the Ozzy gatefold.
That's awesome.
Nice.
The infamous bunny shot that they post every,
Yeah.
And then there's there's one more. Let's see. Oh yeah. My Roth gatefold.
Oh wow.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Killer.
So centerfolds, gatefolds, like so. If you do go to my site, I have centerfolds with different bundles. So this is my slippery. They're promotional posters.
Yeah.
This is my Lita one. That's it. Lita, and then I got Vince, and they're centerfolds. So I put it right in there, and then I got my James Hetfield. There you
awesome.
go. Yeah. And I got my T-shirts, you know, so you can get all these different bundles and stuff, you know. Decade Rock. But
Very
yeah,
nice.
but yeah, a lot of going on. This Welcome to My Exhibition. I actually I don't sing, but I sang Welcome to My Nightmare, and I had this little skit. I'm going to be posting it, so that's going to be pretty fun because I was dressed up like Alice Cooper. That's me in my poster.
Very cool.
Cool. Yeah.
And I have some ideas to take it on the road during Halloween time with Keith Roth and his band of ghouls and special guests. So we have some plans and ideas. So yeah, this is going to be a fun year, interesting time. I'm involved with some people that in different areas that I'm going to expand what I do a little bit, and beauty and health and fitness. I have someone I'm working with. It's
cool.
Someone I've known for a while that I plan on helping. You know, that, you know, and anyone that works hard and is motivated and cares about people and is a good influence, I want to help. And you know, this is one person that I really want to help, and I feel that it's going to be a big project. So these are all things that will definitely be coming out of the box in the next month or two. So stay tuned for a lot of stuff, and just go to rock.com, go to my Facebook, write me a DM, write me a message. Anyone, you know, buy the book, go to Amazon and get it. You can get it. Buy it on A Decade That Rocked. You get a few other things. I have these cool postcards, you know, that you get with them. When you get them from me, you get the postcards. You know, and they're real postcards. You can mail them if you want.
Do they come random in each book, or you have to order with the book? You have to ask for them.
No, any book you get the postcards. So my books are $50. Amazon charges $50. Right. You have to pay shipping and handling with me. I don't think you have to pay for them, but you get these cool postcards. And then if you want me to sign it, it's like another, like I charge $65, and you get like one of the centerfolds, and you know, it's all on the site, where all these different bundles, and there's photos, 8.5 by 11s that I sign. And you can always buy larger prints, of course. Yeah, so that's there's a lot going on to keep me busy. And then I think Santa Claus is bringing me one for Christmas. Here's another book that you should check out. It's my good friend, the guy that wrote my book, Richard Beanstalk. He wrote this book, Nothing But a Good Time.
Oh, I've heard about that one. Haven't seen it yet though, but I heard about it. Yeah,
so he sent me the book, and because I let him use all my photos. He's been helping me out on other projects, so we barter. You know, that's what you do in the business. So he helped me out with some writing, and he said, he wanted some photos for this. So he sent me the book. I'm looking through it. I'm like, where are my photos? You know, they're not in here. And and he said, oh, this is an advanced copy. And it's like, I said, oh, okay. but it's it's Tom Bourgeois and Richard Beanstalk, Nothing But a Good Time. Advanced reader copy. That's what it's called. The Uncensored History of the 80s. And he interviews a lot of people. I think he interviewed me for this, but Stephen Pierce and he interviewed Frankie Bonelli, Ricky Rocket, Starzo, a lot of people, a lot of work came into this, and it's thick too. Look at this thing.
Cool. Yeah.
Nice. That's gonna have your photos in it. It sounds like it's focused on just hard rock and metal from the 80s.
Yeah. It's a lot of business, a lot of people from the business, I believe. Not just rock stars, but people in the business that shared the same. Their stories. It's a good read.
Awesome.
Yeah, so there's so much to keep an eye on. So this is exciting. Yeah. So hopefully 2021 is going to be a kick-ass year for you. And Mark Weiss, everyone, Mark Weissguy Weiss has got. There's a book out right now, which as we've been talking about. You got to check it out, The Decade That Rocked. And a bunch of other projects. The Kevin Dubrow project, go fund it on Indiegogo, and Nothing But a Good Time coming out. That's going to have Mark's photos in it, and then just as you said, a bunch of stuff. So definitely. Yeah, everyone follow Mark on Facebook and check out it's thedecadethatrock.com is the website, right?
Right.
Yeah. That's it.
And then look for his induction to the Metal Hall of Fame as well at some point in 21.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fun. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we can't leave that out. I mean, right? That's we had Pat
Right.
on earlier. Yeah, yeah. Congratulations on being inducted. It's a well-deserved honor. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah, it's cool.
But yeah, it's been an honor meeting you and talking to you today. It's been great. Everyone, follow up, and then hopefully we'll have you on again in the future. You know, you have new stuff to come out, or if you're bored, come hit Rich up and we'll hang out. It's been a great time talking to you.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. Come back. Thanks,
All
Mark.
right.
Thanks
All
everybody
right.
for watching.
And thanks everyone. And